കാലം മാറി മോനെ, ഇപ്പൊ എല്ലാരും ഈക്വല.
മച്ചാൻ നമുക്കങ്ങ് കെട്ടാണ്. പക്ഷേ കല്യാണ ചെലവ് 50-50 ആൻഡ് നോ സ്ത്രീധനം. ഡീൽ. ചേട്ടാ ലൈറ്റ് ആയിട്ടൊരു ചായ.
So, what do we mean by modern times? We mean by modern times as those are governed by modern philosophy. What do I mean by modernity? Modernity is again something that has been a discourse that is constructed on a contrived bedrock of
സോറി ഗൈസ്, പെൻ താഴെ പോയി. ക്യാൻ യു റിപ്പീറ്റ് ഇറ്റ്?
ഒരല്പം ഫണ്ണില്ലെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെ എന്ത് ജീവിതം? ഫൺ സ്റ്റിക്ക് ഐസ്ക്രീം, പ്യൂർ, റിയൽ, ഡെലീഷ്യസ്. പ്യൂർ സ്മൈലിന് വേണം പ്യൂർ ടേസ്റ്റ്. ഫൺ സ്റ്റിക്ക് ഐസ്ക്രീം, പ്യൂർ, റിയൽ, ഡെലീഷ്യസ്.
Homegrown alligator, see you later. Gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road. Something changed in the atmosphere, architecture unfamiliar. I can get used to this. Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. South of the equator, navigator, gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road. Deep sea diving round the club with bikini bottoms and larger tops. I get used to this. Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. We got two in the front, two in the back, sitting along, and we don't look back. Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you'll know where I'll be. 'Cause I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone.
We were both young when I first saw you. I close my eyes and the flashback starts. I'm standing there on a balcony in summer air. See the lights, see the party, the ball gowns. See you make your way through the crowd and say hello. Little did I know that you were Romeo, you were throwing pebbles, and my daddy said stay away from Juliet, and I was crying on the staircase begging you please don't go. And I said, Romeo, take me somewhere we could be alone. I'll be waiting. All that's left to do is run, and you'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. So I sneak out to the garden to see you. We keep quiet 'cause we're dead if the news. So close your eyes, escape this town for a little while. Oh, 'cause you were Romeo, was a scarlet letter, and my daddy said stay away from Juliet, but you were everything to me. I was begging you please don't go. And I said, Romeo, take me somewhere we could be alone. I'll be waiting. All that's left to do is run, and you'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. Romeo, save me. They try and tell me how to feel. This love is difficult, but it's real. Don't be afraid, we'll make it out of this mess. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. Ooh, I get tired of waiting, wondering if you were ever coming around. My faith in you was fading when I met you on the outskirts of town, and I said, Romeo, save me, I've been feeling so alone. I keep waiting for you, but you never come as this. In my head, I don't know what to think. He knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring and said, marry me, Julia, you'll never have to be alone. I love you and that's all I really know. I talked to your dad, go pick out a white dress. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. Oh, 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 oh. Ooh. We were both young when I first saw you.
There goes my heart beating, 'cause you are the reason I'm losing my sleep. Please come back now. And there goes my mind racing, and you are the reason that I'm still breathing. I'm hopeless now. I climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I've broken. Oh, 'cause I need you to see that you are the reason. There goes my hand shaking, and you are the reason my heart keeps bleeding. I need you now. And if I could turn back the clock, I'd make sure the light defeated the dark. Spend every hour of every day keeping you safe. And I climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I've broken. Oh, 'cause I need you to see you are the reason. And come back and you are the reason. I need you to hold me tonight. And I've climbed every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you. Fix what I've broken. Oh, 'cause I need you to see that you are the reason.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet to go over everything. They say that time is supposed to heal you, but ain't done much healing. Hello, can you hear me? I'm in California dreaming about who we used to be when we were younger and free. I forgot how it felt before the world fell at our feet. There's no distance between us and a million miles. So hell from the other side, I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that done, but I not call you, never seem to be home. Hello from the outside, at least I can say that I've tried to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart, but it don't matter, it clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore. Hello, how are you? It's so typical of me to talk about myself. I'm sorry. I hope that you're well. Did you ever make it out of that town where nothing ever happened? It's no secret that the both of us are running out of time. So hello from the other side, I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that done, but not call you, never seem to be home. So hello from the other side, I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart, but it don't matter, it clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore. Thank you.
I thought that I've been hurt before, but no one's ever left me quite this sore. Your words cut deeper than a knife, and now I need someone to breathe me back to life. Got a feeling that I'm going under, but I know that I'll make it out alive if I quit calling you my lover. Move on. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking, falling onto my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, tripping over myself, aching, begging you to come out. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, just like a moth drawn to a flame. Oh, you lured me in, I couldn't sense the pain, but your bitter heart cold to the touch. Now I'm gonna reap what I sow, I'm left seeing red on my own. Got a feeling that I'm going under, but I know that I'll make it out alive if I quit calling you my lover. Move on. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking, falling onto my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, tripping over myself, aching, begging you to come out. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. Needle in the thread, gotta get you out of my head. Needle in the thread, gonna wind up dead. Needle in the thread, gotta get you out of my head. Needle in the thread, gonna wind up dead. Needle in the thread, gotta get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking, falling onto my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, tripping over myself, aching, begging you to come out. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches.
Outer space is something which we are always interested in, aren't we? We always want to explore the universe for its unknown secrets. We, the students of Loyola School, have come up with Endurance, our very own indigenous spaceship designed specifically for outer space travel. Named after the Endurance ship in Interstellar, our ship is unlike other concept vehicles which make use of future technologies. Our ship has been designed keeping in mind the current revolutions in technology as well as the ones currently under development.
This is a revolutionary Endurance, the Loyola Space Vehicle Concept 1. This is designed as a two-stage rocket. Now, as you see here, this is the first stage of the rocket. This consists of the traditional main engine and two boosters to enable it to propel forward.
It has two stages. The first stage has been equipped with a traditional liquid propulsion engine and a cryogenic booster. The second stage makes use of a hydrogen fusion based ion propulsion engine. It is also fitted with path-breaking light sail technology which is being used in the James Webb Space Telescope.
As you see in the first stage, here is the carrier vehicle or the lander. This lander will enable the astronauts in the space vehicle to land in extraterrestrial objects. Here, as you see, is the circular home of the astronauts. As you see here, this is the second part of the second stage of the rocket. Here we have already fitted the light sail technology and the boosters required, which would actually normally just come out of the rocket, as you have seen in the animation. Now what this does is, as we point the spaceship against the sun, the light from the sun helps to propel the spaceship forward in space, thus allowing the rocket to move without any need for energy. This entire model has been made using small bits which we found around our homes, including chart paper, aluminium foil has been used to make this thing, to wrap the boosters, to make this ring-shaped structure, which you call the home of the astronauts. MC has been used to join together all the different parts of the rocket and make it a one single piece and make it composite. Foam board has also been used in the making of this project. All thanks to our creator Abhay, who has made this wonderfully. We have been able to show you this model.
The ship will be able to move into deep space very easily, considering the propulsion systems that we are fitted with. The doors on the dock has been added to use a centrifugal force to provide artificial gravity to the people residing, and also provides the setting up of various technologies to help grow food within for the astronaut, just like ISS does on board. The spaceship will be coated with tandem carbide and hafnium carbide developed at the Imperial College London and can also withstand temperatures up to 4000 degrees Celsius. Multi-layered protection is added for further protection. The heat from the fusion reactors will be controlled by using inertial confinement developed by the NASA. The spaceship is made mostly of graphene sponge, which makes the ship not only lightweight but also strong. It also has a traditional aluminum body, which helps in the structural integrity and also thermal protection of the spaceship.
The spaceship still requires a deep pocket, though because of exotic materials required for its efficiency and longevity in space. The cost of graphene is expected to go down as more and more people manufacture it, as graphene is just carbon a bit more refined. MIT has also made a breakthrough in nuclear fusion which will further reduce the cost. So within 10 to 15 years, the cost of the spaceship will be approximately as much as NASA's space shuttle program, which was $200 billion or even lesser. Currently, it's assumed to cost as much as $1 trillion, considering that the technology is still at its infancy, just $300 billion more than America's defense budget. There is one more to keep in mind. The mileage that the rocket gives, more distance for the buck, is very high, as the spaceship is modeled to go into deep space further than what many spaceships have ever gone, and therefore it will be a good bang for the buck.
എടാ ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ പയ്യന്മാരെ നോക്കുന്നത് സ്റ്റാറ്റസ് അല്ല, ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസ് ആണ് അല്ലടാ. കാലം മാറി മോനെ, ഇപ്പൊ എല്ലാരും ഈക്വലാ.
മച്ചാൻ നമുക്കങ്ങ് കെട്ടാണ്. പക്ഷേ കല്യാണ ചെലവ് 50-50 ആൻഡ് നോസ് 3 തരും. ഡീൽ. ചേട്ടാ ലൈറ്റ് ആയിട്ടൊരു ചായ.
So, what do we mean by modern times? We mean by modern times as those are governed by modern philosophy. What do we mean by modernity? Modernity is again something that has been a discourse that is constructed on a contrived bedrock.
സോറി ഗൈസ്, പെൻ താഴെ പോയി. ക്യാൻ യു റിപ്പീറ്റ് ഇറ്റ്?
ഒരല്പം ഫണ്ണില്ലെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെ എന്ത് ജീവിതം? ഫൺ സ്റ്റിക്ക് ഐസ്ക്രീം, പ്യൂർ, റിയൽ, ഡെലീഷ്യസ്. പ്യൂർ സ്മൈലിന് വേണം പ്യൂർ ടേസ്റ്റ്. ഫൺ സ്റ്റിക്ക് ഐസ്ക്രീം, പ്യൂർ, റിയൽ, ഡെലീഷ്യസ്.
എടാ, ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ പയ്യന്മാരെ നോക്കുന്നത് സ്റ്റാറ്റസ് അല്ല, ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസ് ആണ്. അല്ലടാ? കാലം മാറി മോനെ, ഇപ്പൊ എല്ലാരും ഈക്വല.
മച്ചാൻ നമുക്കങ്ങ് കെട്ടാണ്. പക്ഷേ കല്യാണ ചെലവ് 50-50 ആൻഡ് നോസ് 3 തരും. ഡീൽ. ചേട്ടാ ലൈറ്റ് ആയിട്ടൊരു ചായ.
So, what do we mean by modern times? We mean by modern times as those are governed by modern philosophy. What do we mean by modernity? Modernity is again something that has been a discourse that is constructed on a contrived bedrock.
We have Rafi ul Alam Rahman, who is the founder of the Queer Muslim Project. He represents India on the Beijing +25 Global Youth Task Force set up by the UN Women. Nominated as a young change maker by the Hindu Business Line in 2018, Rafi ul brings with him a decade of experience in rights-based advocacy. He's also an Acumen India Fellow, a Swedish Institute Leader Lab Fellow, and a 2020 Human Rights Campaign Global Innovator. Thank you, Rafi ul, for joining with us today.
Thank you, Nana.
We are also joined by Anjali Manoj.
Mrs. Anjali Manoj is a journalist from the Asian College of Journalism, Chennai. She is an educator who teaches public speaking skills. She does storytelling sessions for children and adults and has published a book for toddlers. She is the admin of FB group for women called Her Trivandrum, which has approximately 15,000 members. She's an educator, journalist, and storyteller. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you, Nanda.
If the judges are ready, we'll start with chess number 1. So first we have chess number 1, C1, Aditya Kishore. C1, Aditya Kishore.
Hello judges, I'm Aditya Kishore. And so
Mr. Rafi, would you like to go first?
You can go ahead, Anjali.
Okay, great. So Aditya.
Yes, ma'am.
We've started with your first question was write a personal mission statement.
Yes,
okay. You gave me a statement. You didn't exactly give me a mission. So what is your mission?
Yeah, so my mission is to make my mark. I told you my mission is to make my statement in something that's related to computers. I love computers very much, and I do coding with this. It's like I have a certain kind of skill for it, and I believe that I will be able to use a skill for the general good of the people all over the world. And as I told earlier, if we try to do something at the best of our hard work, whatever we do, we try to do it at the best level possible. Everything will come to us automatically. We'll start. It's like good for us, good for everyone, and good for whatever you do.
So your personal mission is to use computers to do good for everyone. Is that what you're getting at? Okay, great. What about your, you said first world problem, and you mentioned something about not taking a vaccine, correct? How does that become a first world problem? That's a worldwide problem.
No, I believe that it's more towards these Western countries, because from whatever I know, people in India, very low educated people too, they themselves are going and taking vaccines in India.
Ouch, low educated people in India.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
They are taking.
Go ahead.
Because my parents are doctors, they know what is going on. At the same time, my uncle is in Australia right now, and I know for sure that they are doing protests. They are taking guns against vaccine. You don't need guns against vaccine. Religious fights against vaccine is one thing, but in America, all these Western countries think that making vaccine compulsory is a violation of your right. That's a wrong thing. You are not. This is something that has to be done for the benefit of the human society. And there's nothing that you can lose by taking a vaccine. But these guys who are there, there's microchips by the government. They're trying to force into doing this. And this example will be used later for more things that the government will force us to do.
So what do you think? What do you think about the vaccines? Are the microchips actually happening?
No, nothing. There's no need for the government to put microchips in there. I have taken my vaccine.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Are you sure?
The government does not need to put microchips in a vaccine to notice us. That's all. Because
you mean they're already tracking us?
No, online tracking is already going on to prevent crimes from happening. That has to be there. What do they get from tracking us? By tracking us, I don't believe the privacy thing in internet and everything, because what happens, we already everything, while you join the internet itself, you have given the confirmation, everything to all the Google, to Facebook, everyone, that you are giving them your information. So what do you have to hide? Also about bank account, everything, nothing to hide there. So you have money, so okay, they know that, so no problem there.
Okay, and you also said that a quality that you consider good and other people consider negative is your superior intellect. Go ahead, explain that to me, please.
So if you ask my friends, anyone from my school, they'll tell you that according to them, I'm very intelligent. I don't know whether, but they consider that, and and they congratulate me because they were friends. They congratulate me for everything. But when you win these quizzes, when you go for these competitions, after the congratulations, you always feel that there is something behind those congratulations that is like I am forcing them to be better. Because even though for things they don't want, for example, a person may not like studies. He may be very good in sports, and he wants his parents to support him in sports. But but in India, majority of what happens is that they're forcing them to do constant more studies, get more marks.
I get that. Okay, so why don't you tell me or tell us what you think your biggest achievement is?
So my biggest achievements, it was recently.
So far.
Yeah, it was recently. So I had participated in a competition. H.C. Verma, Professor H.C. Verma, he recently got the Padma Shri. He's a great physics author and educator. He was a professor at IIT Kanpur.
Right.
So last December, I got the chance to go to him as part of top 21 students in the country to visit him and participate in the national and some exam for experimentation. So this is basically
excellent. Very commendable. Congratulations. But taking off that, you have mentioned in another answer that you don't think you need leaders. Now, you just mentioned Professor Verma who led you to understand better.
No, actually, he was not a leader who led me. He was a friend who helped me. I read his books every year for the past 2 years.
Are you sure he considers you a friend?
No, that's what. If you meet him, until you meet him, you will feel that he is very superior to you. But once you meet him, you see he's the nicest person you can ever see. He behaves. He's the one person who's he's a teacher who believes that if he's teaching, there should be noise in the classroom. If there is noise in the classroom, only then that other people will know that the class.
So then we need more people like him. We need more leaders.
Right. We need more. That's why the government is giving him Padma Shri for. But he's not a leader. Actually, he's more a friend. Because I tell you what happens.
Okay, so what do you think will happen in a world without leaders? Don't you see?
No, the thing is that here what is happening is glorification of leaders. That's what I believe is happening. So in India, we have I'm nothing against those leaders, but we have in India, we have Narendra Modi. In China, we have Xi Jinping.
You obviously have something against the leaders. You want all of them taken off and you want a world without leaders.
I want it decentralized. That's what. So basically what happens is that often things take place due to, I don't want Narendra Modi standard. I want the entire concept to go down. Because I want decentralized as that, not leaders. I want this more like a blockchain based system. We have heard of Bitcoin. It's decentralized based on a ledger, and using that you are doing everything. So something like that, because what I feel is that all the wars, everything has happened. Even kings, it is a fight between kings. There's no fight between the public. If an Indian goes to Pakistan, and if you talk to a normal Pakistani there's not going to be much of some war there. But due to this kind of tense situation created all around India, there's a kind of tense situation. If you go through those Facebook comments or those Twitter, those tweets, you see that
those are not done by the leaders.
No, actually, but this happens with their comments. Certain comments are done because even things like not Modi as such, because there are other leaders, for example, they're telling for Corona itself, they're telling us to use cowdung and everything.
Okay, let's bring it down to the grassroots. Do you think your school would function without a principal?
Yeah, I believe so. But the question was about nation leaders, right? But my school, I think
it has to disseminate all the way down. We break these leaders to break the leaders at the top. You can't have leaders here and eliminate the ones on top.
Okay, so I believe that it could have functioned if you were based on something like common consensus of what everyone wants. Right?
Great, sounds good. Mr. Rafi, is there?
Yeah, so no, thank you, Anjali. In fact, I want to add to what you actually asked. So, Aditya, what do you understand by a leader? That's my question.
A leader is one who's supposed to lead someone, and then he's supposed to be an example. But what I felt, the question in that PDF I supposed to send was, what would you say to if you were given the chance to meet the leaders of all the nations? So I believe that these leaders right now are not leading the proper way. They were doing such things that I believe are not good enough by sharing those things. Like, for example, not directly or indirectly, they were not doing it good. They're promoting wars and such things, and I don't believe that to happen.
Okay,
I don't want that to happen.
No, I totally get it. I think you're talking about political leaders, about governments, but if I were to ask you, is there one leader that you actually like across the world, like, somebody that actually stands out to you in governments? Like,
okay, so the one thing is about the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He stands out to me as good, but the thing is that if you dig down deep enough, you get to know things that you don't want to hear about them. That's the problem with all that. That's why I don't like them. So if Justin Trudeau is actually the son of a former Canadian leader, and he has been in a lot of different scams and related to oil and everything. So that's what happens. That is happening, and I don't want that to happen. That's why you don't want just single person, or maybe that's what decentralization from one person to a lot of people for a council. But as right now, to me, Justin Trudeau sounds like a good leader, and even Narendra Modi for India sounds like a good leader. A leader, he's good. But if you dig down, deep down, you get to know about some secrets of theirs which you don't want to hear about them.
so which means you you acknowledge that with one person, like when we give all the power to one person,
that's a problem.
But multiple people, so it should, like, multiple people should be able to have a say, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think what Anjali asked you about your school, so if I were to ask you the same thing again, so can you give me an example, like how in your school, and forget about the principal, but even at the classroom level, how will this work if you were to give me an example?
Yeah, so basically the teacher, so what happens in my school is a best example of that. A teacher wants to take an extra class. What she does is she asks us, when can she tells us what is there. We have to finish this much portion in this much time. That is like maybe in 1 month. And according to the current timetable or something, we are not able to finish it. So if we want to do well in the exams, we have to finish the portions. So she asks us, when do you want an extra class? So we tell them, okay, we check our schedule, we check when we are free, and we tell her, and she's happy to do that. She is happy to do an extra class there. So that kind of thing I want. So basically more interactive, where the public are also involved, not just the leaders and those people on their own.
So I think the problem here then is not so much with the leader as much as it is with the qualities that a leader possesses, right? So I think because you did bring a couple of things. You said a leader could be a friend, like you talked about the writer that you've been reading. You've talked about your class teacher who asks you, listen to you. So there is that flexibility, and and
that's what, but the entire concept of decentralization, I mean more activity by the public, more public participation. Instead of just the bureaucracy or just the IAS or the IFS people and the IPS people deciding and then telling that to the ministers and then going to the prime minister and then going to the president who signs it. It's more like where the people also get a say to vote again, because once you elect in India, what happens once you elect the government for 5 years they do it unless they lose majority, they are able to make all the laws. So better that you create a government, but you're able to vote on certain referendums, like maybe what Britain did for Brexit, something like that. They gave the referendum to the public. A referendum should be made, because sometimes they can make mistakes. Everyone can make mistakes. That's right.
I think this is it for me. I'll just.
Yeah, I think I'm good too. Aditya, we're not normally like this. This is part of the competition.
Yeah, I understood.
Feel free to meet us as friends, not leaders. See us on the
I've actually seen a lot of these.
Well answered. Thank you.
Thank you. So I can leave, right? Yes, ma'am.
Naina or Nanda, can you tell me who comes next, please? Is that Ayan?
Yes, just numbers.
Okay. Hold on for a minute.
Yeah.
You can admit him, but hold on for a minute. Let me just finish this.
Good afternoon. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ayan. Mr. Rafi, would you like to go first this time?
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
Am I, Naina, Nanda, am I audible to the both of you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible. Ayan, could you please check your internet? Is it?
I'm sorry, can I rejoin the meeting? I can't.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, ma'am, I think you can proceed.
Hi, Anne. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir, I can hear you now.
How are you today?
I'm good, sir.
Good. All right. So you did mention, just give me a second.
Yes, sir.
So you mentioned climate change as a issue that's very close to your heart. Can you tell me a little more about it?
Sir,
and if you can give me examples of things that you have done so far, in wanting to address that at a school level or with your peers, yeah.
So, climate change, I think it's the most pressing issue that we face right now, because it's not just a matter of our lives; it's a matter of the future of the planet too. It's undeniable. It's staring us right in our faces, but we choose to deny it. We choose to ignore it in a way. And if that goes on, then we won't have this planet, sir. And this is the only planet that we have, and it's so beautiful and it gives us everything we need. But we ignore this problem. We take and we don't give back enough. And it's given us all we ever want, really, and more than what we want. But we take more than what we need, and we destroy the planet in the process. And I think it's the most pressing issue that we face right now. And
okay. So have you, can you give me some examples of what you have tried to do so far in addressing this issue at your own small level at home or, in the neighborhood or at school?
Sir, I think as I can, as much as I can, I think I've done it. I as a person, as a normal person, I think I've done as much as I can. I try not to litter. I try to recycle my things. I try to stop others from doing it too, or I try to educate them on what they can do better. I try to spread the word and tell others about this, because I think, sir, everyone chooses to ignore it because it's looming over us right now, and electing to stare this problem in the face is understanding that we may not have a planet to live in the next 10 years, which is a very short period of time. So I think a lot of people choose to ignore it, and I'm addressing the issue head on, and I'm bringing attention to this problem.
Okay, so no, that's good. I think we should all make efforts in our own lives. So, you've mentioned the existence of racism in countries that claim to be progressive and developed. So, can you talk a little bit about this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a ridiculous first world problem.
Yes, sir. Sir, it is. I think it's a very prevalent problem. So, as we've seen in the United States of America, for example, it claims to be the greatest system in the world. It claims to be the most developed country in the world, but such a trivial problem exists there. Such an old problem exists there. It's deep rooted in that country, because I don't see how they can be so developed, how the people can be so well informed, but they still choose to believe in such a stupid thing, because they choose to differentiate people on the basis of their color or their ethnicity or where they come from, their background. I don't understand, sir, because we are all people. That is just the principle. I think that's a basic argument we can use to fight racism. That we are all people, we are all humans, and so I can't believe that there are people that don't see that argument.
Okay, so you said being well informed is a way, is an expectation that there should not be no racism, right? So tell me, what does that mean? Does it mean education, and does education necessarily have
yes,
the
I think in a way it means education, because they say that because they're different from us, they're lesser than us. And I think there's a lot of history in that problem too, sir. A lot of history that they opt to not learn, a lot of great things that people of other races have done, because they claim that they are the greatest race in the world, sir. Because a lot of this argument
My question, Ayan, is that do you think education in itself has the power? So what you study in classrooms, do you think that itself has the power to shift things
Yes,
like
sir.
mixed
At least
learning
I
or
think
other such practices?
because I think this whole entire racism, this is a kind of a genetic or a linear thing too, because it's values that have been spread from long ago, from a time where people weren't educated enough. So I think through education we can at least stop the next generation from having such thoughts. We can shift their mindset to a brighter, more progressive one.
Okay, and that means that education system then has to be inclusive, right?
Yes, sir.
Which means that the classroom textbooks that we study must also
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
come from the voices of people.
There's
that
a lot of gentrification happening in such textbooks and such learning materials. Yes, sir.
Okay. Miss Anjali, you want to go ahead? Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, Ayan.
Mhm.
Now that we've got your thought process out, I'm going to do a little nitpicking.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the flavors you mentioned is salty, right?
Yes.
What does salty mean?
Because, ma'am, I think
No, just the word salty. What does salty mean?
salt is a flavor, ma'am. It's flavor that I
It's a
enjoy.
flavor, but
The flavor I enjoy.
when I say a dish is salty, it means it has too much salt, right?
No, ma'am, not necessarily. There are salty dishes because I think salt is a thing that complements a dish. It can complement the dish, ma'am. So yes, ma'am. I think when I say it's too salty, then yes, the dish is too salty. But when I say it's salty, I think it's a salty flavored dish. That's all I can say. And that's a flavor, man. And there's a packet of Lay's called salty, ma'am.
And that's a flavor you like?
Yes, ma'am. I enjoy the flavor.
Great enough. So tell me why you think these flavors, you mentioned so many flavors. Tell me why you think, or which of those 4 flavors you think has the most importance?
Ma'am, definitely, ma'am, when it comes to my life, I think savory, ma'am. Because I said savory and I said I like to take things because savory, I think it's a kind of combination, it's a feel, ma'am. It's a combination of flavors and it's the little things that matter in that flavor because there's an explosion in your mouth. And pertaining to me, I think that's the flavor that compliments me the most because I want to enjoy everything. I want to take life at a slow pace. That's my part of my personality that I associate with that flavor. That's the most important to me. But when it comes to other people,
So what are the qualities you associate with that word savory?
and savory,
For me, savory means angry. To me, savory means angry because savory means spice and savory means angry to me. But that's obviously not what it means to you. So what does it mean to you?
I think savory, ma'am, it means life to me. It's not just spice to me. It's maybe
give me qualities. Give me qualities that you
qualities. I think, ma'am, taking note of the little things, ma'am, and taking life at a slow pace, ma'am, because savory means you savor it, right? So I like to savor it similarly. I think the first word that comes to mind when I associate savory with my personality is life, because I like to savor everything. I like to take things at a slow pace, and I like to take attention to the little details. That's a part of my personality I like the most, actually.
Okay, so what is the smallest or littlest detail about you that most people don't know? Something good.
Smallest detail, something good. Ma'am, I go out. Ma'am, I like to help people. Ma'am, I don't know if this sounds like I'm tooting my own horn.
No, go ahead. This is what this is for.
Ma'am, but I like to help people, ma'am. So I like to go out of my way to help them. So if there's a person that needs some money, or I'll willingly give him my money to help him if he needs it. If I'm sure that he needs it, then I'll do it for him. And I don't like other people knowing that for some reason. It's like I don't want them to know it. I just
you're modest and helpful. What a killer combination.
It sounds like I'm tooting my own horn.
No, that's great. You're modest and helpful. Okay. Coming to your question about what can schools do differently to boost creativity. Okay.
Yes.
Your first statement said, I think schools focus too much on just studies.
Yes.
And your last statement said, I think they should focus on the marks they gained. If there's no studies, there's no marks. You've contradicted yourself. Please give me a better understanding.
I think they focus too much on studies. They must focus on studies. Of course, studies are important, but in a different way that they do. Some school systems, what they do now is they claim to focus on extracurricular activities too, but it's still like studies are first. Like studies are primary. Like if there are no studies, there are no extracurricular activities. But I think that's not right. I think they should go hand in hand. I think they should be even. But in a lot of systems, it's not like that. It's studies are everything. We think we need to change that notion, ma'am. That's what I meant. We shouldn't let go of studies. Definitely not. but just make it go hand in hand with the extra things.
Don't worry, I'm sure your teachers are not watching this, but yes, let's not let go of studies. In the last question, you have mentioned that, how have we dealt with the virus outbreak and how well have we done it? Has there anything you have dealt with personally in order to spread maybe awareness, or how have you tackled this?
Ma'am, I think as a person, like I said, everything I can do on my level, I think I've done. Because I whenever I go outside, I make sure that I follow all the mandates, which is I think the most a person can do. And I think if every single one of us did that, this thing would have been over. At least it wouldn't have grown to the extent that it has now. I enforce if I'm going out with someone, I make sure that we follow the mandates, that we're 5 feet apart. I want to make sure that no one gets hurt, because the problem with this pandemic is there's no telling how it might affect a person.
Correct.
So it actually scares me, that thing, because
that's great. That's a responsible citizen. As a last question, let me ask you, like you said, you don't want to toot your own horn. Go ahead and tell me something very negative about you. So we'll crush that.
Yes, ma'am. I get angry quickly, ma'am.
So I was right about the savory right at the very beginning.
Yes, ma'am. But spice doesn't mean anger, ma'am. Yes, spice is a good flavor too, ma'am.
Yeah, but you're short-tempered.
Yeah,
So what advice do you have for anyone who's short-tempered?
I think the advice is, ma'am, don't respond.
Don't go dramatic on me. Give me one short sentence.
Ma'am, don't respond when you're angry. That's all I can say. Get away from the situation, remove from the situation, and then calm down. And
Great. Thank you. I think I'm Mr. Rafi. Is that?
No, I think this is good.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Ayan.
Thank you, sir.
Just a quick question, Naina. So is this being live streamed as well? It says live streaming as well.
Yes.
Okay. Who's next?
Judges, please note, next is test number C3, Kavya Anoop. It's C3, Kavya Anoop.
Okay.
Good morning.
Very good afternoon, my dear.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
How are you, Kavya?
I'm fine.
How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good.
Good? Confident?
Yes.
Great.
Mr. Rafi,
you want to go ahead? Yeah.
No, please go ahead.
All right, just give me a moment. So, Kavya, you've mentioned a quality that you possess that others consider negative. You've said competitiveness. So, tell me what are the positive and negative aspects to that?
Competitive.
Why do you think it's a positive thing for you, but why do friends tell you that it's negative? So
yeah. So basically, I join for all competitions mostly. Whenever there is an opportunity, I tend to join for everything. But my friends don't do so, and they have time for other stuff. But then I will be always busy with something because I participate in everything. So they'll be like, you shouldn't do this. And even my parents and family will be like, you have to focus on one thing, because some of the times, like in the past few years, I've been participating in many stuff that I didn't get enough time to learn for my exams. So my parents and family will also be like, you have to focus on one thing and not join everything.
Okay, so what do you think? Is it good for you, bad for you? Like, how has it been so far? Participating in a lot of things, how does it make you feel? Does it make you tired? Does it make you more excited? Like, how has it been?
It makes me more excited. First, I do have an initial starting trouble, but I force myself to participate, and then it does feel good when I finish it. So I have never regretted participating in things because it always makes me feel good at the end.
Okay. So in question number 4, where you said that if you were given a chance to speak in front of all leaders, you would talk about freedom of thought and action, right? But in your day-to-day life, can you give me like at least 2 examples where you have exercised this? Be it in school, at home, or like, 2 examples where you have actually exercised like free thought and action and have stood for what you believed in,
So in school, sometimes, you're not allowed to say your opinions. Sometimes because teachers will be like, you shouldn't voice this because it is wrong to say this. You should be controlling your own emotions and you shouldn't speak up like this. But then I have spoken up in during animations, like in stage shows and everything I've done up.
And another example, like you talked about school, but is there any other example? And if you could tell me what happened because of that, like, so you said that teachers often don't let students speak up, but you did. And what happened? What changed? I mean,
yeah, so an event was happening that day and we were supposed to ask pre-planned questions. But I'm not very fond of pre-planned questions being asked to guess. So I asked a question which was not pre-planned and the teachers did not support that. So that's what happened. And I did get a little bit of scolding from my teachers, but I was happy after I did that because I did what I wanted to. Another example, I'd say in front of my family members, sometimes my family would be like, you shouldn't speak against others, but I have always voiced my opinions.
So is it a good thing or a bad thing when your teacher, like ensured that you should not, like asked you not to ask questions that were not on the agenda? Like, so what do you think? It was a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it was a good thing because if someone comes to speak in a public stage, they should be prepared to answer questions which are like, on the spot being asked.
So, Kavya, do you watch so what are some of your hobbies, like what do you like watching? A lot of films?
Yeah, I do watch a lot of films and shows. I listen to music. I read a lot of books. I do draw.
What is the show you're currently watching?
The show that I'm currently watching, I'm watching a K-drama called as Our Beloved Summer.
Wow. All right. I'm also a K-drama fan, so no question. But yeah, I think one last question from me.
That's unfair. she said K-drama and you gave it to her.
I'm a huge K-drama fan.
I can see that. There were no questions beyond that.
Transparency, I'm a huge fan, in fact. But I wanted to ask you one last question, I'm skipping the K-drama part, but one question, like one interesting thing about your personality.
One interesting thing about my personality. I'd say I'm very straightforward.
You're very straightforward.
Yes.
Okay. Anjali, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Kavya. He let you off the hook the minute he heard K-drama. I'm not a K-drama fan, so I'm not letting you go that easily.
Okay.
But let me tell you, I loved the answer to your first world problem about Google Maps. I have personal vendetta against them. I hate Google Maps. I have wound up in everything except someone's kitchen by following Google Maps. So I hate it too. You said someone on stage should be prepared to answer all kinds of questions. So are you prepared to answer anything I throw at you right now? Yes. Good. I love that confidence. Assuming you were a color, what color would you be and why?
I'd be black because I like black. Black goes with everything. It's aesthetic. So
why, besides being aesthetic, why would you select the color black?
I feel like black would go well with everything, and black is like a universal color.
Okay, so now you're a fruit. Which one would you be?
Fruit.
We don't have a black fruit, so.
I'd be an apple.
Why?
An apple, and it's a doctor, right? So I'd like to keep everyone.
You have something against doctors?
No. I just want to keep everyone healthy.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, you mentioned somewhere that children should grade each other's work
Yeah.
And that is the way to go. Okay,
Yeah.
assuming you have someone in your class who really hates you, okay, for whatsoever reason, XYZ, and she is asked to grade your work, do you think that would ever come to a fair grading?
There is a problem, but I feel like in a school type of situation, you shouldn't have that kind of. Teachers should tell the students that you shouldn't, keep personal grudges. And
Yeah, that is all good to say, but assuming you were the most unpopular child, was given papers to grade, or her papers were handed out, her or his papers were handed out, would that be fair?
this method is already being practiced in Finland and many other countries. So students actually discuss with each other and correct, even with the help of teacher. So they're not like solely like individually doing it all by themselves. The teacher also helps. They can discuss the answers and then correct it by themselves. That is what I meant.
Right. Okay, so tell me something nice about you, something we don't know, something nice about you.
I can be a really helpful and kind person.
Okay. And assuming you were given a chance today to create one law, what would that be? One law that everybody in the world had to universally follow.
Stop making nuclear weapons.
Great.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Let's probably make that a law already.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Rafi, anything?
Absolutely. I think that's a good thing too.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. Thanks, Kavya. I threw as many questions as I got at you, and you handled it like a pro. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Who comes next?
Judges, please note next we have chess number C4, Rohan Deepu Inman.
Okay, just give me a minute, please.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Hi, Rohan. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir.
Feeling a little bit nervous?
Just a little bit, ma'am.
Don't be. We're just here to bully you. Okay. Mr. Rafi, would you like to go first?
You can go.
Okay, thank you. Rohan, you have mentioned flavors, okay? And you say sa because of humor. Sour and humor, other than my face at that point when I eat something sour, I don't really see any humor in it. Go ahead and tell me why.
I think it's like an innate connection with the flavor. People talk about, throwing stones and getting tamarind and eating it and all that. I think I read too many of those stories, and now I just innately associate sour with humor and having fun.
Okay, reading stories is a good thing. That shouldn't be bad. You have mentioned that something schools can do differently is, rather than letting students go to contests of their own volition, let random people go. So do you think your school should have sent someone other than you?
Madam, there's a chance that might have been true. There might have been people who would have done a lot better who did not come. But I'm here, so yeah, I'm happy to be.
Was that your choice, or were you forced into it?
I came of my own volition.
So do you think someone who, if they had not taken you and sent someone randomly instead, would that have been better?
it's random chance. So there's a chance that somebody who has a great personality, who does well with these kinds of things might have come, but I don't.
Okay, can you tell me something that you think maybe someone else might have done better? So something that you're not too good at. What is something you are not too good at?
Giving forceful answers, actually directing the conversation the way they want it to go.
I didn't. Go ahead, elaborate on that.
Actually, setting the stage for themselves, actually expanding on what they like, that sort of thing.
Okay. Your sentence says, I am less optimistic about India. Isn't that sad that you have no hope in your country?
It's less optimistic, and I'm not pessimistic.
Okay, tell me the difference. Tell me why you're less optimistic about our country.
Madam, in recent times...
Let me warn you at the outset, I'm deeply loyal to my country, so don't step on my toes. Go ahead.
Madam, in recent times, news has been coming here and there. Things I've heard have made me less optimistic in the country and less hopeful about the country as a whole and about the will of the people as, the givers of power to the governing authority than I used to be. And
so assuming today someone or everyone gives you an option and says you can relocate to any country, any nation, any continent of your choice, where are you going, Rohan?
This is something I've thought about a lot, and the answer is I'm just going to stay here.
You're less optimistic, but you choose to remain here. Go ahead. Okay, so what are you going to do then to help us get out of this?
It's my it's my nation, it's my state, these are my people. So I have to do whatever I can to just make sure that everything's going
Happy to hear that. So what are you going to do to help our nation maybe improve? Is there something you think we should be doing?
Madam, public health is something that's not lacking, but definitely something that has to be worked upon. And then people's access to healthcare is also something that's very critical to actually having a developed nation and a happy populace. And as of now, those are my ambitions and hopes to help in that.
Very good. Very important. Public health, improvement of access. Yes, very important. Thank you. Mr. Rafi?
Thank you, Anjali. Rohan, are you nervous?
So just a little bit. Now it's going down.
Okay.
You think he looks nicer than me, so you'll be off easier.
I would just say don't be nervous.
Keep your fingers crossed. Yeah, he is. He's nicer than me. Go ahead, Mr. Rafi.
I would of course disagree. I don't think I am nicer, but I think we just have different approaches. No, I definitely like this answer very much that you've written. Where you're talking about the intertwined nature of oppression in the world and how climate crisis, because somebody else also mentioned climate crisis, and I think you've tried to connect it with some of the other problems. So do you want to talk a little more about this, Rohan? Just the way you write, yeah. Just what came to your mind when you wrote that answer? What are you observing around you? Why do you think it's an intertwined problem? So
because everything can be connected to every other problem in quite a few ways. When people talk about overpopulation isn't really a problem, because right now we're producing enough food for 10 billion or more people with the level of low industrialization that most nations are using. And then when you talk about overpopulation, these days you're getting more far-right figureheads talking about overpopulation, especially in the West, talking about how some people have to be culled or doing eugenics so that the nation can be better even with ecological disaster. And that ties into far-right politics as a whole and how it's just horrible and demented as a concept. And then the ecological crisis is just facts. People's greed and capitalism as a whole are causing just the collapse of entire ecosystems and of people's livelihoods, because some people can get wealthy off of collapse, and then they are actually getting wealthy off of collapse.
So if your school were to appoint a new, kind of student leader that actually addresses climate concerns at school, and so you were hired as that person, like you were recruited as a student leader who will lead and create awareness. So what are 2 initiatives that you will create at your school that will help address the ecological crisis and create that kind of understanding at a school level for children. Yeah.
So creating an understanding is exactly the problem, the thing that we have to do. So because a small scale stuff is actually not going to do anything. So my school has about 2,500 children or so. And what are 2,500 people going to do in the face of billions of people looking for food, water, and shelter? So it'll be.
No, but at your school, what will you do? I want to know. Like,
so raise awareness. Raise awareness.
Don't be vague. Just think of very concrete examples. Like at the school, what will you do? And think of this think of a shorter time frame. Because everybody can do small things that can contribute, right? Like we don't have the power to change what 5 million people are going to do, right? But at our school, 2,500 students, you have the power. Your teachers allocated some money. You can do certain things, So give me at least 2 examples, like 2 concrete examples of things that can be done.
So rerouting the buses so that they reach the people where they actually stay. So this is something that's been done to a small degree just this year. When we went for physical classes, the bus routes were a bit more robustly planned out. So the people could actually get to school by bus rather than having to walk or take a car or other means of transportation till just the bus stop. And that's something that can be done for most places. Most places either don't have the means of transportation to get the people to school or to any other place in such a way. And that doesn't actually take much money. The buses just have to be planned out, and then the fuel costs will be.
Okay, so that's one thing. But what is there any other other thing that you want to do that you think that can address this problem at the school level? I think this is a very good rerouting buses, cutting down on fuel, etc. But what else? In terms of awareness, is there something you want to do creatively within the school that can create more awareness, visibility of these issues?
So awareness, not to make the students aware, it's just a matter of getting the message to them in ways they understand, and that needn't be lessons, because most books like EVS from the 4th standard onwards, there are messages about recycling and all that, but who's really reading it and actually understanding it? Because I've seen my brother studying it. He just writes it for an exam. It's like we must reduce, recycle, and renovate old homes, make sure that people are running with proper thermal security and all that. But then he's just writing it. He's not actually, doing any of it. He's not making sure of any of those things are actually being done. And so the thing is to actually make people aware and actually get them instilled in the ideas of a proper future based in climate, ecologically aware practice.
No, that's a good answer. I do think that, a lot of people do study and read about things, but there is very little action that's happening. So moving on from there, I think in one of the questions you've said that you are like one of the qualities you've talked about, is that you are very talkative. That's how you use it. But other people say you're not assertive. So what's the difference? And how, give me one example again from your, life where you observed that in yourself, that you were not assertive, like something happened and you were not able to assert.
So this is basically a criticism that I actually received from a few people for other things I went to. So I went to a mock UN event, and then this is exactly what every single person in the judging board told me. So I definitely had to keep that in as a criticism, because I'm trying to improve on that. And I can just talk about anything, but actually getting the message across, making sure that people know about it, and so on and so on. It's something I try to do.
Okay, and are you being assertive today?
So I hope so. I don't know.
No, great. I think this is good. Anjali, any questions from you?
No, that's good. He's asserted that he's been good today. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you. Thank you, Rohan.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks, sir.
So, judges, please note, now we have chest number C5, Shiv Madhav. It's C5.
Just give me a minute, huh?
Sure, sir.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How's your day been so far?
Pretty fine, I guess.
Is this the first event you're appearing for?
Thanks for asking, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing good. Is this the first event you're appearing for?
Yes. This is the first personality event I'm appearing for.
Okay, Mr. Rafi, would you?
Yeah, I can go. Thank you. How are you, Shiv?
I'm pretty fine. How are you, sir?
I'm good as well. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your mission statement. So you've said, that by mission statement, you understand it as life goals. And I see that you've written a couple of things. So you want to be a pediatrician, you want to do humanitarian work, but then you also want to be in the Indian Foreign Service and then a permanent representative at the United Nations. So if I were to ask you about a mission statement in the next 5 years,
yes.
What is in 5 years? Like, where do you see yourself?
In 5 years, I see myself as a college graduate, I guess. But yes, I more like a humanitarian person, which world needs right now.
Okay, so coming to the second question. You've said that about a ridiculous first world problem, you have mentioned gender equality. Now, I don't want to go there, but I want to talk about our country. So tell me, what can we do better right now? Give me at least 2 examples of when it comes to gender equality. How can we achieve it?
We can achieve it by First, we can achieve it by changing our sex education. Like literally, our sex education is more about just this biology stuff, but it would be more better if we just bring into this gender stuff too, as well as the second problem would be more like, we should put a stop to judgmental people, like people who judge other people. Like it's their own freedom. That's why we call ourselves humans, and these human beings are themselves fighting against each other. So pretty much.
So again, I'll go a little further in this same question. Can you give me one example from your life where you've tried to practice gender equality?
Yes, I have tried to do this thing. It was in the Asian event last year. I got the third in it, and the topic was about gender equality in Taliban. So literally, Taliban, the newly Taliban occupied Afghanistan, is bringing a lot of women's rights stuff as well as the gender equality stuff. So I talked about it.
So you talked about what was happening in Taliban, but in your own life, other than that, have you practiced? Have you done something? One example, you've seen, where somebody was not treated equally or not fairly,
yes,
because of their gender.
It was when I was in Chennai, when I was around in the 7th grade or 8th grade. I went there for my vacation. Like Chennai is my native place a bit. So the flatmate across my flat was LGBTQI, like a lesbian. So literally, she faced criticism every day by by neighbors, and it's more like literally the fact is that we need sympathy. Sympathy is something which tends us to see in the place of the others. So literally, I felt that.
Don't you mean empathy, not sympathy?
Yeah, empathy. Sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Great. So tell me a little bit about this thing. In one of the flavors you mentioned, gaming. What is that flavor? You said it's strong and connected with your personality. Give me an example again.
Okay. Gamey means more like a competitive flavor. It's more like a smoky flavor and wild flavor mix. So that's a gamey flavor. And it's more like competitive. I can go with the flow as much as I want. So yeah, I'm as competitive as a person should be.
So you are a competitive person.
Yes.
Competitive in the sense that you would want to win this, personality quiz today.
Sure. Yes.
Great. All right.
I'll pass enough to know that you are going to win it, or do you have a doubt?
Most people literally doubt themselves, but in my opinion, you shouldn't doubt yourself. Then that's the biggest doubt you will ever bring to this world. So yes, I don't doubt myself.
Okay, great. So let's start with the question he said. You said gamey flavor.
Yes.
Forget what you meant by the flavor. What does game mean?
Game means something more like everything. Like life is a game.
That's what you meant by game. But when game as a flavor comes, it's hunted meat. That's what game means.
Yes, it's hunted meat. It's hunted pork.
To
be more specific.
Okay. What do you say about hunting and meat?
Hunting and meat? More like
hunting for meat.
Hunting for meat. I am getting that, but more like it's more like that smoky flavor, which is a barbecued pork. That's more like the gamey flavor.
No, so, I'm talking about what do you feel about hunting for meat? What is your thought?
Okay, okay, more right. Okay, hunting for meat is more like something which should not be done, as every organism in this world has a right to live, and more like we shouldn't more like play with their lives or something. More like we should at least respect them.
Are you a vegetarian?
They can't talk, they can't do something. Yeah, no, yes, I'm a vegetarian. More like it. I like it.
That explains that. Okay, in your question, that is, if you got a chance to speak in front of all the leaders of the world, in literally every sentence you have said, I would tend to talk, I would tend to speak. Why tend to? You're given a platform and you're talking in front of the leaders of the world.
Oh, okay. The fact that I tend to speak means that it comes out of my heart.
Okay.
That's flawless. So that's what I meant.
You actually mean what you're saying. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes.
Okay. But you're a sideline hero, or so you've called yourself. Why are you a sideline hero?
I love to be a sideline hero.
You'd love to be a sideline hero and not a hero?
I would prefer both, but more like a sideline hero.
We're not giving you both roles.
Pick one. Hero, maybe more heroistic, but more like a silent hero, because doing something and not boasting about it is another skill.
Okay. Oh, so you are underplaying your heroism, right? I get that.
Yes.
But you also say that salty flavor tends to be sharp, and so do I. How sharp are you? What do you mean by that?
How sharp means more like I tend to look on the little things. More like when you watch some foreign language dramas or something, I tend to look on how as I told in the before, I tend to empathize. So yes, more like I am sharp as well as I tend to look in the little matters.
Okay. You have very strongly stated that the color orange is derived from the fruit orange, and you have reiterated it twice, said it twice.
Because I read a lot, and literally I got some information from a book that
okay, so let's come to that. Which is the last book you read?
My last book. That's Khalid Hosseini's And the Mountain Decode, which is an that's the book.
What kind
Khalid Hosseini's Mountain Decode, and that's a book which brings in the Taliban, which brings in the sister-brother relationship, as well as it brings, it's a more like a sad book, an emotional book. So that's, yeah.
So
That's a
do you
book.
have a particular genre that you read in books? Is there a...
If you ask a genre, I am in for books. So I don't care whichever book is given to me, I read books. I
Okay,
love
so you
books.
told us
such
what you're
that,
reading.
yeah.
Which is the worst book you've ever read?
Worst book I ever read. That would be probably. I don't like criticize much, so I can't get that. But I am straightforward, so I would say probably the LKG textbooks, which no, the textbooks which I read now. So because that's probably they are stating something, but they aren't just telling us what's the reason behind it.
Ouch,
So,
that's for people like me who go up behind those textbooks. That's not very nice, but yeah. Okay, thank you. I think I better stop at that. Thank you, Shiv. Mr. Rafi, anything else?
No, thank you, Shiv.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judges, we have chess number 6, Shreya Anil next. Chess number C6.
Is Shreya here?
No, but we've sent the message, she will be here soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, Shreya. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great.
Great.
Yes.
All confident.
Yes.
All set to win.
Yes.
What happens if you don't win today?
It doesn't matter. I just enjoy the process.
Wow. So, Anjali, you want to go ahead or should I?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So, Shreya, just give me 1 second. So, in the flavor question, I'm jumping straight to this question. You did say that the third flavor will be tangy because I strongly oppose any wrongdoing or evil that I see around me and try to protest against it. So, do you want to give me an example like of an injustice that you faced, you think, like, and that where you stood up?
Yes, sir. Because on a daily basis, we see several small injustices. The intensity can vary. So, starting from home itself, if there is any discrimination that's conducted, gender discrimination, or with respect to harming nature, also small events, I try to protest against that, and I try to make people understand that that is not the way to do it. So that each of those small protests can bring about a small change in the way people think.
Okay. And in like this question about mention a quality that you possess, where you've said, which others consider negative, you said my ability to say no. So tell me a little more about this, and what has happened because of that, because of your ability to say no.
Yes, sir. I think that it's very important for us to say no. Like whenever we are being presented with something, we shouldn't always go with the yes. Because I can give an example. Because in my school we have to do projects, individual projects, and we have exams on the basis of those projects. So I've had friends who asked me to share my project to them so that they can copy it. So I had said no, because if I do that, I'm not only cheating myself, but I'm also teaching them, because by doing that, I am actually allowing them to pass this test so that at the end they have to study the projects anyway. So it is kind of going to backfire on them. So that is an example where I've said no. It has sounded offensive to them, but I've stick on to my no. I've said that I will not give it to them. But the method of saying will be, I try to say that they don't feel so offended. But in some extreme cases, I say firmly that I cannot do that.
So for you, it's quite an interesting answer, because I'm just thinking, so relationships, how do you manage relationships in situations like this?
Sir, I think that a relationship should be based on mutual trust. And whenever we have friends should be somebody who want us to improve. That if a person is helping another person, which by knowing that will lead to their downfall some other day, then that's not a true friend. I want to be a true friend, and I need to help my friends to achieve success. So if I do this, I'm definitely sure that I'm only helping them choose the wrong path. So that is why I choose this. I think that such relationships should be the ones that foster. I would rather have friends who will not resort to such methods.
Okay. So, there's a question about, speaking to world leaders. I'll not ask that, but I wanted to ask you, if you were given the chance to be the principal of your school for a day, what would you do interestingly, that others haven't been able to do so far? At least one or two things, in the school that will lead to everyone's betterment.
That is a very interesting question. I had not thought about that. But if I am the principal, because I am already a student, I think from the perspective of a student, and many times the leaders won't be able to think like that. In very rare cases only they will be able to do so. So several issues that we face now, because online mode of education has been continued, is that our school and several schools, we are not able to conduct competitions, creative activities like the way in which we had been able to do so. And I am a person who loves co-curricular activities. I love to take part in competitions. I love to learn something out of the school curriculum. So we've not been able to do that with the same zest and zeal which we've been following till now. So I just introduce that back somehow. I'll motivate children to take part in such competitions. I'll just work with them, and I'll bring back the morale that they had lost for some time.
Great answer. One final question from me. If there's one thing about you that you could change, what would that be?
About me, I think that I am not very organized in the way I maintain things. I'm not very systematic. I like to go by the flow. I do not plan things beforehand so much. So I like to change that about me. I like to be a bit more systematic so that I'm able to plan everything that I plan my day properly in a very organized manner, so that we won't waste much time in that manner.
Anjali, yeah.
Great. Shreya, let me start by saying the answer where you said learning to say no is important. I'm very glad you said that. That is something that took my generation some time to learn. I'm hoping every girl, boy, child, everyone in your generation learns it already before they start being an adult, because it is very, very important to be able to say no at the right time and to know that you're not wrong saying it. So, excellent answer. Please do not let anyone or anything stop you from that. Okay, coming to your other answers. You said something about a prominent flavor will be one that is unique. Tell me something that is unique, or something that you find is unique about you.
I think that it is the manner in which I approach things. My friends have always made fun of me, because whenever I start reading a book, I read the synopsis, the review of the book, then the acknowledgement, the forward. My friends always say that a person doesn't read all of this, they just start reading the book. But I love reading the other part more. I love reading about authors. I love thinking about the technical aspects of everything. That's something which is very unique. And another thing is that I'm not very talkative or a very social person, but I'm able to focus very much in my work. If I'm doing something, I can give 101% focus onto that and do it with a high amount of perfection. So that is something that I find unique about myself.
So is there a book where you read a review, or a book or a movie where you read a review or a synopsis and then went ahead and read it or watched it and it didn't match? Is there something where you were disappointed?
It's not, I wouldn't say disappointed, But sometimes when we read a review, it kind of reveals so much about the story. Or when we read, they'll have pictures, illustrations, which actually hampers our imagination. I like to imagine a story in my own way. That's why I don't like movies as much as I like books. Movies are the imagination of directors that's being forced onto us. We are forced to follow their way of thinking. But then books we can imagine in our own way. So one such book was Brida by Paulo Coelho. It's an amazing book, but I happened to see some pictures or illustrations of the cover page of the book. So when I started reading, Brida was a protagonist, and I wasn't able to imagine her in my own way. I want the pictures had curly hair for Brida. I didn't want her to have curly hair. So just small things.
Do you have a thing against curly hair? You better not. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. You have also mentioned something about encouraging children to do something entirely different and perhaps never thought about by anyone. Can you give us an example of something you'd like children to do? You said this will bring out their talent or creativity. So something you think will help.
I feel the children think differently from everybody else. They are very innocent. But what happens nowadays is that they are being sent to school, they are being forced to pay more attention to their studies, and many times they don't have time for themselves to think about things in the way they do. So that amount just takes away their creativity. They don't have time to think about such things. So I just meant that they can be given time to view and analyze things in different ways, to observe even the small things that most people miss. And another problem is that many children right now, they don't realize about several problems and issues in the world that actually need to be understood from a very young age. They remain ignorant of such facts, and that is why the problems that we are facing, it is staying stagnant out there. We are not able to solve issues as it should be because the people are not aware. If the children from a very young age, they are aware of such things, maybe they can provide a new or fresh perspective on how to solve them that people are not able to, adults are not able to find.
So give me an example of something that you'd like children to be aware about at a younger age that most children are not aware about.
I think the gender differences and how to respect each gender for the way they are. Many times the children of younger ages, the boys are not aware of the menstrual cycle of girls for a very long time, even until marriage. That is something which is unacceptable. The boys should be told that if they were aware, that the girls wouldn't have to worry about wearing a white skirt to school. That wouldn't happen because the boys are aware that it is a phenomenon that is very natural. So that should be something that they should be taught so that they learn to accept the difference and that inclusiveness from very young age.
Okay, that sounds good. Assuming you were to introduce a fun, a crazy activity in school, what would that be?
I think it would be storytelling. It's not very different, something which is very different, but that can actually boost the creativity of students very much. Rather than reading books, they can be asked to build up stories on their own, simply from scratch, whatever they would like to. And it can turn out to a very interesting fact because the way one person thinks is entirely different from the way other people think. So it can lead to a very fun game, and also children can think out of the box, they can be creative, and they can enjoy the process as well.
Mr. Rafi, she scored with that one answer. I'm a storyteller by profession, so that one answer has answered it all for me.
I think she has scored it on many.
Yes.
I think I really love that response about being able to say no, because
yes.
Even when we talk about gender, often women's no is not taken seriously, right? So I think to be able to say that
I don't think it stops with women's no, even
generally,
children,
I think
anyone.
as a culture, I think we are just, if somebody says, or I don't want to eat more, families will give you more rice, eat more, so it's like we as a culture.
I should remember that the next time I feed my children. Yes.
As a culture, I think we have to have a long way to go with no, and I'm so glad that you're already thinking about it, but very good, Shreya. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Shreya.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Naina, do you mind stopping the live streaming?
Sorry. Yeah, so actually we'll be having, Nanda, would you like to tell us?
Yeah, so for discussing the finalists, we'll be having another separate Zoom. So we'll be ending this meeting now. Thank you all for joining. We will conclude the meeting now. Thank you.
Thank you.